boys were selling their medals to have food to eat, until a coach sees them and makes an offer. Charlie and Raphael Johnson held their gold and silver medals with trembling hands as they offered them to anyone passing through the central square of Portland. The older boy shielded his younger brother as they haggled over prices that would barely cover a plate of food. That's when they felt a firm hand on their shoulders. Turning around, they saw a man in a blue and white sports jacket watching them with a serious expression. "Do you know what you're doing?" asked the stranger, pointing at the medals. "We need to eat, sir," replied Charlie, the older boy at 14, instinctively pulling 10-year-old Raphael behind him. "These medals are from the state youth track and field championships. I recognize the symbols. Did you win these by running?" Raphael nodded timidly, still clutching his silver medal to his chest. "My name is Robert Wilson. I was a track and field coach for 30 years. And you two have too much talent to be selling your achievements on the street. Are you going to buy them or not?" Charlie tried to sound brave, but his voice trembled. "We've got other people interested." Robert looked around the square and saw no one paying attention to the boys except him. "I'll make a different offer. How about I buy you both lunch and we talk about these medals?" The brothers exchanged glances. For 2 days, they'd eaten only bread with margarine, bought with money from a few medals they'd already sold. "We can't take charity," said Charlie, repeating the words he always heard from his mother. "It's not charity. It's an investment. I want to meet the athletes who earned these medals." 40 minutes later, the three were seated in a simple diner near the square. Robert watched, fascinated, as the boys ate with a hunger that went far beyond just needing a meal. "How long has it been since you had a full meal?" he asked gently. "We eat," Charlie lied, but Raphael contradicted him without meaning to. "Yesterday we only had bread, the day before too. Mom said she'd find work this week, and then we'd eat properly." Charlie gave his brother a discreet elbow, but Robert had already caught on. "And your mom? Where is she now?" "Looking for work. She lost her job at the factory 3 months ago. It's been hard since then." Robert asked a few questions about the competitions the boys had participated in. He learned Charlie had been the state champion in the 100-meter dash for 2 years straight, and Raphael showed exceptional talent in the long jump and 400 meters. "Listen, I have a private gym here in Portland. How about I train you for free? In return, you promise never to sell your medals again." "Mum won't agree." Charlie shook his head. "She doesn't like taking help from anyone." "Then let's talk to her. What's your address?" The boys hesitated. They lived in a rented room at a boarding house in Unity Heights, one of the poorest areas in town. The place was too small for 3 and always damp. "We can take you there, but Mom will be mad if she finds out we were selling the medals," admitted Raphael. "She doesn't know. We told her we were just going for a walk in the square." Charlie lowered his head. "She thinks we still have all the medals stored away." Robert's heart ached. These boys were lying to their mother to spare her more worry. "How many medals have you sold already?" "7, whispered Raphael. "And we still have 5 each." "And how much did you get for the 7? $50, Charlie said, as if it were a fortune. Robert quickly did the math. Official competition medals were worth much more than that to collectors. Someone was taking advantage of the boys' desperation. "Who bought your medals?" "Mr. Joe from the pawn shop on Riverside Avenue. He said he'd buy as many as we could bring." Robert knew the place. Joe Miller was known for buying items from desperate people at very low prices and reselling them for exorbitant profits. "Could you take me to your home? I'd like to meet your mother." The walk to the boarding house was revealing. The boys moved quickly through increasingly narrow streets, passing modest homes and small businesses. Robert noticed how they greeted neighbors with a smile that tried to hide the hardship they were facing. "That's where we live," Raphael pointed to a 2-story building with peeling paint. "Mom rents a room on the 1st floor. We share it with her," explained Charlie. They climbed a wooden staircase that creaked with every step. The hallway was dimly lit and smelled of dampness. Charlie knocked on the door of room 7. "Mom, we're home, and we brought a visitor." The door opened, revealing a woman around 35, too thin, with her hair tied in a simple ponytail. Her clothes were clean but worn from use. "Good afternoon, my name is Robert Wilson. I'm a track coach and I met your sons at the park." Maria Johnson looked suspiciously at the man and then at her sons. "You two, get inside, now." "Mrs. Maria, I can explain." "You can explain outside." "Boys, inside." The door closed and Robert heard a hushed conversation on the other side. A few minutes later, the door opened again. "You can come in, but take off your shoes," said Maria, visibly reluctant. The room was small but tidy. A double bed where Maria slept, a bunk bed where the boys took turns, a small table with 2 chairs, and an old wardrobe completed the furniture. Robert noticed there was no television or other appliances besides an old fan. "The boys told me they were selling their medals." Robert got straight to the point. "I'd like to help." "We don't need help," Maria crossed her arms, "and they shouldn't have talked about our situation to strangers. Mom, Mr. Robert was a coach for 30 years. He knows our medals and said we have talent," Charlie interjected. "Talent doesn't pay rent or put food on the table," Maria replied sharply. "But it could create opportunities for their future," Robert argued. "Your sons have the potential to earn scholarships, sponsorships, even a career in sports." "You think I don't know that?" Maria raised her voice. "You think a mother doesn't recognize her own children's talent? I know they're special. But talent isn't something you can eat, Mr. Robert." "Mom, let Mr. Robert explain his offer," Raphael said timidly. Maria looked at her sons and then at Robert. Her expression carried the weight of the world. "Go on." "I can train your sons for free. I have a well-equipped gym and years of experience. In return, they commit to studying and keeping their grades up." "And what's the catch?" Maria was skeptical. "There is no catch. I lost my own son 5 years ago. He was an athlete too. Training your boys would be a way to honor his memory." Maria fell silent for a few seconds, processing the information. "And what do you want from us?" "Nothing. Just their dedication and responsibility." "Mom, we could try," Charlie suggested. "If it doesn't work out, we'll stop." "You don't understand. People always want something in return. Always." Robert sensed Maria's resistance and understood it. It was the pride of a mother who was struggling alone to support her children. "Ms. Maria, I understand your hesitation, but I can provide references. I have connections with sports federations, other coaches. My offer is legitimate." "I need to think," Maria finally replied. "Of course. I'll leave my card here. You can call me when you decide." Robert stood up to leave, but Raphael grabbed his sleeve. "Mr. Robert, do you really think we can be good at this?" "Raphael, you're already good. The medals you have prove it. I just need guidance and opportunities. And we'll earn money by running? With hard work and dedication, yes. There's a whole world of possibilities in professional sports." After Robert left, Maria sat on the bed and buried her face in her hands. "Mom, why can't we try?" asked Charlie. "Because whenever someone offers free help, things end up worse for us." "But what if this time is different?" Maria looked at her sons. Charlie had the same determined look as his father, and Raphael had inherited his sensitivity. Both deserved a better chance in life. "We'll try it for a month," she decided. "If I notice anything strange, you stop immediately." The boys celebrated quietly, but Maria was still worried. 3 days later, she called the number on the card. "Hello, Mr. Robert. This is Maria, Charlie, and Raphael's mom." "Hi, Maria. How can I help you?" "The boys can start training, but I have some conditions." "Go ahead." "First, I want to see the gym first. Second, they only train if it doesn't interfere with school. Third, if I think you want something in return, they stop immediately." "I agree to all your conditions. How about you come see the gym tomorrow at 2 p.m. The next morning, Maria woke up earlier than usual. She'd gotten a day's work cleaning a house in Westside and needed to be there by 8 a.m. "Boys, stay home today. When I get back, we'll visit Mr. Robert's gym." "Mom, can we sell some medals while you're at work?" Charlie suggested. "No, you promised you wouldn't sell anything until we see if this training thing works out." "But we're hungry, Mom." Maria opened her purse and took out $10, all that was left from her last cleaning job. "Buy bread and milk, and don't leave the house for anything else." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It really helps us as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. After Maria left, the boys were alone in their small room. Raphael's stomach growled, but he tried not to complain. "Charlie, do you really think this coach is okay?" "I don't know, Raphael, but it's better than selling our medals, right?" "I like our medals, they remind me of Dad." Charlie moved closer to his brother. Their father had left when Raphael was just 6, leaving only memories of the training sessions they'd had together in the park. "Dad would be proud to know we became champions, right?" "Yeah, he always said we had to run fast as the wind." The two fell silent for a few minutes, each lost in their own memories. "Charlie, if we start training with Mr. Robert, do you think we'll get even faster?" "I hope so, and maybe then we can help Mom without having to sell our medals." Around 11 a.m., someone knocked on the door. The boys exchanged worried glances. Maria had told them not to open the door for anyone. "Who is it?" Charlie called through the door. "It's Joe from the pawn shop. I came to see if you have any more medals to sell." Charlie recognized the voice of the man who had bought his first medals for dirt cheap prices. "We don't have anything else to sell, Mr. Joe." "Huh? But last time you said you had more medals at home. I can pay a little more if you bring them all at once." Raphael stepped closer to the door. "How much more can you pay?" "Raphael, no," Charlie whispered. "About $100 if you bring all the medals you have," Joe answered from outside. It was more than they'd made from the 7 previous medals. Raphael looked at his older brother with hope. "We could just sell a few and keep the most important ones," he suggested. "No, Raphael, we promised Mom and Mr. Robert. But Mom's working so hard and we barely have enough to eat." Charlie was torn between his responsibility to care for the family and the promise they'd made. "Mr. Joe, we need to think about it." "All right, boys. But don't take too long. I have other suppliers interested in selling competition medals." After Joe left, the brothers kept talking about the offer. "Charlie, if we sell just 3 medals, we'll still have 7 each, and $100 would buy food for the whole month." "I know, Raphael, but what if training with Mr. Robert works out? What if we win more medals and don't have to sell any? And what if it doesn't work? We'll keep going hungry." Charlie knew his brother was right. They couldn't bet all their hopes on someone they barely knew. "Here's what we'll do. We'll check out the gym this afternoon. If it looks serious, we won't sell. If it seems like a scam, we'll come back and sell 3 medals to Mr. Joe." "Deal." At 1:30 p.m., Maria came home tired but with $40 in her pocket. Her work as a housekeeper was hard, but at least it covered basic expenses. "How are you boys?" she asked as she walked into the room. "Good, Mom." "Mr. Joe came by wanting to buy more medals, but we didn't sell anything," Raphael told her. Maria grew worried. Joe knew where they lived, and that wasn't a good sign. "What did you tell him?" "That we didn't have anything left to sell," Charlie answered. "You did the right thing. Now let's get ready to see this gym." The address Robert had given them was in the Lake District, about a 40-minute bus ride from the boarding house where they lived. Maria and the boys left home at 1:45 p.m. to arrive on time. During the bus ride, Maria noticed the gradual change in the urban landscape. The houses grew bigger, the streets wider and cleaner. It was a world completely different from what they were used to. "Mom, if Mr. Robert lives around here, he must have a lot of money," Raphael commented, looking out the window. "Money doesn't define a person's character, Raphael. Some rich people are cruel, and some poor people are kind, and vice versa. But why would a rich person want to help us? That's the million-dollar question, son." They got off the bus in front of a sports complex with multiple courts and a running track. The sign at the entrance read, "Robert Wilson Training Center." "He owns all this?" Charlie asked, impressed. "Seems like it," Maria replied, equally surprised. At the reception, a woman around 50 greeted them with a warm smile. "You must be the Johnson family. Robert is waiting for you at the track." "This is a lot, huh, Mom?" Raphael whispered as they walked down a hallway lined with photos of famous athletes. "Yes, son, it really is." Robert stood by the track, wearing a sports jacket and holding a clipboard. When he saw them, he walked over with a genuine smile. "Maria, boys, I'm glad you came. What do you think of the place?" "It's amazing," Maria admitted. "I had no idea it was so big." I worked many years to build this place. I've trained over 200 athletes. Some even made it to national and international competitions. Robert took them to see the facilities. Besides the track, there was a gym with weight equipment, physical therapy rooms, locker rooms, and even a cafeteria. "Can I ask a personal question?" said Maria as they watched some athletes training. "Of course. Why do you want to train my kids for free? And don't give me that story about your son. I want the real reason." Robert stopped walking and looked directly at Maria. "The real reason is that your kids remind me of myself when I was little. My family was poor too. I also had to sell things just to eat. And if it weren't for a coach who believed in me, I never would have gotten where I am today." "And you really don't want anything in return?" "I do. I want them to honor the talent they have. I want them to study, to be good people. And when they grow up and succeed, I want them to help other kids the way I'm helping them now." Maria could hear the sincerity in Robert's words. But what if they don't make it? What if they don't have enough talent to go far? Then at least they'll have learned discipline, determination, and teamwork. Those qualities will help them in any part of life. "Mum, can we start?" asked Charlie, who had been watching the other athletes train. "How about we do a test today?" Robert suggested. "Nothing too hard, just to see where you're at." Maria agreed, and the boys went to get borrowed clothes from the locker room. 15 minutes later, they were on the track warming up with Robert. "Charlie, I want you to run 100 meters at your normal pace. Don't push yourself." "What about me, Mr. Robert?" asked Raphael. "You'll run 200 meters, also at your own pace." Maria sat in the stands to watch. It was the first time in months she'd seen her kids truly happy. Robert started the stopwatch and Charlie took off. His movements were natural, fluid, like running was the easiest thing in the world. When he crossed the finish line, Robert checked the timer twice to be sure. 11.8 seconds, he announced, impressed. "Charlie, do you know that time qualifies you for national competitions in your age group?" "Is that good?" the boy asked, panting but grinning. "It's excellent. With proper training, you could get down to 11.2, maybe even lower." Raphael ran next and also impressed Robert with a time of 24.6 seconds in the 200 meters. "You two have incredible natural talent," Robert told Maria after the tests. "With 2 years of intensive training, they could be competing at a national level." "And what exactly does that mean?" "Scholarships, sponsors, prize money. A sports career can open a lot of doors." Maria was still taking it all in when Robert made a specific offer. "How about we start Monday? Training Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. It won't interfere with school." "But how will we get here 3 times a week? The bus fare? I can pick them up from school and drive them home after practice." "No, Mr. Robert, that's too much." "Then what if I pay for their bus passes? Consider it part of the training investment." Maria hesitated. Was accepting money for fares different from taking charity? "Mom, please," Charlie begged. "We really want to try." "What if their school complains about the schedule? I'll talk to the principal. I have connections in education and can explain how sports help with school performance." Maria looked at her sons, who watched her with hopeful eyes. "All right, let's try it for a month." "Thank you, Mom." Raphael hugged her tightly. "But I have one condition I haven't mentioned yet," said Maria. "I want to watch at least 1 training session a week. I want to see how you work with them." "Of course. It'll be a pleasure to have you here whenever you'd like." On the way back home, the boys couldn't stop talking about the gym and their training plans. "Mom, did you see how perfect the track is? And the other athletes running?" Charlie said excitedly. "I did, son. It really is beautiful." "And Mr. Robert seems nice, right?" Raphael added. "He does. But let's take it slow. 1 day at a time." When they got home, it was almost 5 p.m. Maria had to leave again for her job as a waitress at a downtown bar. "Boys, I'll be working late tonight. There's bread and margarine on the table. Don't leave the house and don't open the door for anyone." "Mom, how long will you be gone?" Raphael asked. "I won't be back until tomorrow morning. The job goes until the bar closes." After Maria left, the boys ate the bread with margarine and kept talking about their day. "Raphael, do you really think we can get fast?" I don't know, Charlie, but I want to try. I liked running on that track. Me too. And if we can earn money from running, Mom won't have to work so much. That'd be good, right? Mom's always tired. Around 8 p.m., someone knocked on the door again. The boys recognized Joe's voice before he even introduced himself. Boys, it's me again. I've got a better offer. Charlie went near the door without opening it. What offer, Mr. Joe? $150 for all the medals you still have. It's enough money to keep you comfortable for a good while. Raphael looked at his brother. It was a lot of money, more than they'd seen together in a long time. We'll think about it, Charlie replied. Don't take too long. Tomorrow I might not be able to pay that much. After Joe left, the brothers stayed silent for a few minutes. Charlie, with that money we could help Mom pay the overdue rent. How do you know the rent's overdue? I heard the landlady talking to Mom last week. She said if we didn't pay by the end of the month, we'd have to leave. Charlie didn't know that. Maria had been hiding more problems from them to keep them from worrying. Even so, Raphael, we promised Mom and Mr. Robert. But if we get evicted, how will we even go to training? It was a hard argument to counter. How could they think about track training if they didn't even have a place to live? Let's talk to Mom tomorrow. She'll decide. Deal. The next morning, Maria came home at 7 a.m., exhausted after working all night. She found the boys still asleep and decided to let them rest a little longer. When they woke up around 9 a.m., Maria was sitting at the small table, counting some crumpled bills. Good morning, Mom, Charlie greeted. How was work? Tiring, but it made some money. And you, how was your night? Mom, Mr. Joe came by again, Raphael said. He offered $150 for all our medals. Maria stopped counting the money and looked at her sons. And what did you say? That we'd talk to you first, Charlie answered. You did the right thing, and what do you think? We don't know, Mom. It's a lot of money, and Raphael said the rent's overdue. Maria sighed. There was no point hiding their financial situation any longer. It's true. We owe 2 months' rent. If we don't pay by the end of the week, we'll have to leave. So should we sell the medals? Raphael suggested. And what about training with Mr. Robert? We can start later when things get better, said Charlie. Maria stayed silent for a few minutes, thinking about their options. $150 wouldn't cover the 2 months of overdue rent, but at least it would buy them some time. I'll call Mr. Robert first. I want to explain the situation to him. Maria dialed the number on the card and waited for Robert to answer. Hello, Mr. Robert, it's Maria. Hi, Maria. How are you? How are the boys? Look, I need to be honest with you. Our situation is worse than I admitted yesterday. What happened? We owe 2 months' rent. If we don't pay by Friday, we'll be evicted. I see. How can I help? Mr. Joe, the one from the pawn shop, offered $150 for all the boys' medals. It's money we need right now. Robert stayed quiet for a few seconds. Maria, can I make an offer? I'll lend you the rent money. You can pay me back whenever you can. No rush, no interest. Mr. Robert, I can't accept that. You already train them for free. That's too much. It's not a favor, Maria. It's an investment. If the boys sell their medals now, they'll regret it for the rest of their lives. But what if we can't pay you back? We'll worry about that when the time comes. What matters now is keeping the family together and giving the boys a chance. Maria got emotional. It had been so long since anyone had shown this much faith in her and her sons. How much do you owe for rent? $450. I'll stop by soon with the money. Mr. Robert, I don't know how to thank you. No need to thank me now. Thank me when the boys are running in national competitions. An hour later, Robert knocked on the boarding house door. Maria greeted him, her eyes still red from crying. I brought $500, he said, handing her an envelope. The extra $50 is for groceries or whatever else you need. Mr. Robert, call me Robert, please, and remember, this isn't charity. It's an investment in your boy's future. But why are you doing this? Robert looked at Charlie and Raphael, who were watching from the bunk bed. Because 35 years ago, a man did the same for me. My mother was about to be evicted, and a track coach paid our rent. Today, I can return that kindness. And were you able to pay him back? I did. It took 2 years, but I did. And more importantly, I became the person he believed I could be. Maria wiped her tears with her sleeve. The boys can start training on Monday. Perfect. How about we have lunch together today? I know a nearby diner with great home-style cooking. Robert, you don't have to. I insist. Let's celebrate the start of a new chapter for you all. During lunch, Robert shared more of his story. The son of a housekeeper and a construction worker, he started running by chance at 12 when a gym teacher noticed his natural talent. My mother resisted at first too, he said. She thought sports were a waste of time, that I should focus on school to get a job sooner. How did she change her mind? Maria asked. When I started winning races and getting scholarship offers, she realized sports could be a path to a better life. Did you ever compete professionally? I made it to the Olympics twice. Never won a medal, but the experience changed my life completely. And after? I became a coach. I discovered my real talent wasn't running. It was teaching others to run better. Charlie and Raphael listened, fascinated. Mr. Robert, do you think we could make it to the Olympics too? Asked Raphael. Raphael, you both have talent for this, yes, but it will depend on a lot of hard work, discipline and dedication. The path isn't easy. We're willing to work hard, Charlie assured. We'll see on Monday, Robert smiled. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to leave a like and especially to subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. On Monday, Charlie and Raphael woke up at 6 in the morning earlier than usual. It was their first official training day with Robert. Boys, eat a proper breakfast, Maria instructed, having bought fresh bread, milk and fruit with some of the money Robert had loaned them. Athletes don't train hungry. Mum, will you be able to watch practice today? Raphael asked. Not today, son. I got a part-time job at a bakery, but tomorrow I'll come watch you train. At 3:30 p.m., Robert was waiting at the door of the public school where the boys studied. Some classmates grew curious seeing a man in athletic wear, waiting for the Johnson brothers. Charlie, who's that guy? A classmate asked. He's our track and field coach, he answered proudly. On the way to the gym, Robert explained how the training would work. We'll start slow. 3 times a week, 2 hours a day. 50% of the time we'll focus on technique, 50% on endurance. And when do we start running for real? Charlie asked. You're already running for real, now we'll run smart. At the gym, Robert introduced the boys to Mrs. Constance, the team's physical therapist. Constance, these are the new athletes I told you about. Charlie and Raphael Johnson. Nice to meet you, said the woman around 60 years old with a motherly smile. I hope you're dedicated because Robert is a very demanding coach. We are, Mrs. Constance, Raphael assured. The first training focused on physical assessment and learning basic techniques. Robert watched every movement the boys made, jotting notes on his clipboard. Charlie, you're landing too hard on your heel. That'll cause injuries later. We'll work on your stride. What about me, Mr. Robert? Raphael asked. You have excellent natural coordination, but you need to work on your breathing. You're wasting too much energy in the first few meters. During a hydration break, the boys met other athletes training at the gym. You're the new ones? A girl around 16 asked. My name's Julie. I've trained here for 3 years. I'm Charlie, and this is my brother Raphael. Robert mentioned you're really talented. Is it true you've never trained with a professional coach? No, Raphael answered. We just ran on our own at the park near home. Then you'll improve really fast. Robert is the best coach there is. What's your event? Charlie asked. Pole vault. Last year I was the US junior champion. Wow, the brothers exclaimed together. But it wasn't easy. When I started here I was really weak. Robert transformed me. After 2 hours of training, Robert gathered the boys for a talk. How do you feel? Tired, but good, Charlie answered. I really liked it, Mr. Robert, Raphael added. When do we come back? Wednesday, same time. But before that, I need to talk to your mom. I have to explain some things about nutrition and rest. On the way home, the boys couldn't stop talking about practice. Raphael, did you see how dedicated the other athletes are? Yeah, and they all really respect Mr. Robert. I think we landed in a really good place. At home, they found Maria preparing dinner. She'd gotten back from her bakery job an hour earlier. "So how was the first practice?" "It was great, Mum," Raphael said excitedly. "We met other athletes and a girl who's the American champion. And Robert said he's going to come talk to you about nutrition," Charlie added. "About nutrition? It's because athletes need to eat certain things to have energy for training," Raphael explained. Maria got worried. Was Robert going to demand expensive food she couldn't afford? "Mom, don't worry," Charlie noticed. "Mr. Robert is nice. He'll explain everything." On Wednesday, Robert came to pick up the boys from school and noticed Charlie was quieter than usual. "Everything okay, Charlie?" "Yeah, Mr. Robert. It's just that we're worried about our mom." "Why?" "She got nervous when we mentioned the nutrition talk. I think she's afraid she won't be able to afford the food athletes need." Robert understood Maria's concern. It was natural for her to feel pressured. "Don't worry. I'll explain to her that there's healthy, affordable food. It doesn't have to be expensive." During the second practice, Robert worked more specifically with each boy. Charlie trained on sprints and speed, while Raphael focused on endurance and running technique. "Raphael, you have potential for longer races too. How about we try the 800 meters? Is that really far, Mr. Robert?" "It's 2 laps around the track. Let's test your time today, just to get a baseline." Raphael ran the 800 meters in 2 minutes and 18 seconds, an excellent time for his age and lack of specific training. "Raphael, this time qualifies you for state competitions in the 800 meters too," Robert announced, clearly impressed. "Does that mean I can run more than one race in competitions?" "Absolutely. Many athletes compete in multiple events." "What about me, Mr. Robert?" Charlie asked. "You'll focus on the 100 and 200 meters. Those races require more explosive power, which is your strength." After practice, Robert walked the boys home to talk to Maria. She greeted them at the door, visibly tense. "Robert, come in. Sorry for the mess." "Don't worry, Maria. I came to talk about the boys' nutrition during training." "I figured. Go ahead. I'm ready." Robert smiled at Maria's defensive expression. "Maria, relax. I won't suggest anything you can't afford. Athletes need balanced meals, but that doesn't mean expensive." "Really?" Maria was surprised. "Rice, beans, chicken, eggs, bananas, oats. Nothing too different from what a normal American family eats. But I've heard athletes take expensive vitamins, supplements. That's for professional athletes. For beginners like the boys, natural, varied food is enough." Robert pulled a sheet of paper from his bag. "I brought a list of meal suggestions, all based on affordable, nutritious products." Maria looked over the list. There really wasn't anything too different from what she already tried to give her kids when she had the money. "What about the amount? Will they eat more?" "They will. Exercise increases appetite, but that's natural and healthy." "Robert, can I ask you a personal question?" "Of course. Do you have any other children besides the one who passed?" Robert was silent for a few seconds. "No, Maria. Henry was an only child. After he left, my wife and I separated. She couldn't bear being near anything that reminded her of him." "I'm so sorry." "It was hard, but I found a new purpose coaching other kids. Every athlete I help is a way to honor Henry's memory." Maria understood Robert's motivations better now. "What was your son like?" "A lot like Charlie. Same age when he started training, same natural talent, same determination. And how did it? Car accident. He was coming back from a competition with some friends. The driver fell asleep at the wheel." Maria felt a tightness in her heart. She understood that Robert's pain was real and deep. "Robert, thank you for trusting us. Thank you for giving me a new chance to be useful." Charlie and Raphael, who had been listening to the conversation from the kitchen, came closer. "Mr. Robert, we're going to train hard to honor your son's memory," said Charlie seriously. Robert was moved by the boy's words. "I'm sure you will, Charlie. I'm sure." On Friday, during the third training session of the week, Robert noticed the boys were more focused and determined. "Today we'll do a more specific speed test," he announced. "I want to time you on the 100 meters with an official crouch start." "What's a crouch start?" asked Raphael. "It's the position sprinters use in official competitions. I'll show you." Robert demonstrated the stance. crouched, hands on the ground, feet positioned on the starting blocks. "Looks hard," Charlie commented. "It feels weird at first, but with practice it becomes automatic." After 30 minutes learning the technique, the boys did the timed test. Charlie ran the 100 meters in 11.6 seconds, 2/10 better than his previous time. Raphael, in the 200 meters, clocked 24.1 seconds. "Excellent," Robert cheered. "With just 1 week of technical training, you've already improved significantly." "Does that mean we're on the right track?" asked Raphael. "It means you have the potential to go very far if you keep this dedication." "Mr. Robert, when will we compete for the first time?" Charlie asked. "There's a local tournament in 3 weeks. If you want, I can sign you up." "We do," they answered in unison. "But it's a serious competition. You'll race against athletes who've trained much longer." "We're not scared," Charlie assured. "Then let's get to work. The next 3 weeks will be intense." When they got home, Maria was in the kitchen preparing a more elaborate dinner than usual. She'd managed to buy chicken, rice, beans, and vegetables with the money from her job at the bakery. "Smells amazing, Mum," Raphael exclaimed. "I'm following the nutrition tips Robert gave me. You need to eat well to keep up with training." "And we have news," Charlie said. "Mr. Robert is signing us up for a competition in 3 weeks." "A competition?" Maria grew uneasy. "But you've only been training for a week." "It's just a local tournament, Mum, so we can see what it's like," Raphael explained. "What if you don't do well?" "It's okay," Charlie replied. "The experience is what matters." Maria was still processing the news when someone knocked on the door. It was Robert. "Good evening, Johnson family. I came to talk about the competition I mentioned to the boys." "Robert, come in. I was just wanting to speak with you about that." "I imagine you're worried. It's natural. It's just they've been training for such a short time. Maria, this first competition is mostly for them to get a feel for an official race. We're not expecting big results yet." "But what if they get nervous? What if they can't run well?" "It's part of the learning process. Every athlete goes through it at first." "Mom, we really want to do it," Raphael pleaded. "And Robert said he'll be there to guide us," Charlie added. Maria looked at her son's hopeful faces and at Robert, waiting for her decision. "All right, you can compete." "Thanks, Mom." The boys hugged her at the same time. "But I want to be there too," Maria said. "Of course," Robert agreed. "Your presence will mean a lot to them." "And where is this competition?" "At the municipal stadium. It's just a short distance from here." "And do we need to pay anything?" "The registration is on me. It's part of the training." "Robert, once again, thank you for everything." "Maria, stop thanking me. You're already giving me so much more than you realize." "What do you mean?" Robert looked at Charlie and Raphael, who were excitedly talking about the competition. "Seeing their joy reminds me why I chose to be a coach. It makes me feel like Henry would be proud of the work I'm doing." Maria was moved by Robert's words. "I'm sure your son would be very proud indeed." Over the next 3 weeks, the training intensified. Robert worked on running technique, race strategy, and mental preparation with the boys. "Charlie, in a competition, you'll face runners who are more experienced. Don't let that intimidate you," Robert advised. "And how do I avoid getting nervous?" "Focus on your own race. Run against the clock, not the other athletes." "What about me, Coach Robert?" Raphael asked. "You'll be running the 200 meters. It's a race that requires strategy. Don't start too fast at the beginning. Save your energy for the finish." A week before the competition, Robert took the boys to see the municipal stadium where the tournament would be held. "Wow, it's huge," Raphael exclaimed when he saw the official track. "And there are bleachers for the audience," Charlie observed. "Will people be watching us run?" Raphael asked, a little nervous. "Yes, they will. But don't worry, just focus on the race." Robert had them run a few laps to get used to the environment. "The track here is a bit different from our gyms," he explained. "We'll train here 2 more times before the competition." "Why is it different?" Charlie asked. "Every track has its own characteristics. This one is a bit harder, which might affect your times. For better or worse, it might be a little slower. But with the experience you have now, the difference will be minimal." The day before the competition, Robert only had the boys do a light workout. Tomorrow you'll rest until race time, he instructed. No running or heavy exercise. Not even playing soccer with friends? Raphael asked. Not even soccer, you need your legs rested. Coach Robert, we're nervous, Charlie admitted. It's normal, every athlete gets nervous before their first big competition. What if we don't run well? Charlie, you've already achieved so much. A month ago you were selling medals in the square. Now you're about to compete officially, that's already a big victory. But we want to run fast to honor your son, Raphael said. Robert was moved by the boy's words. You're already honoring his memory just by being here. Henry would be so happy to know two talented boys like you are getting an opportunity he couldn't fully enjoy. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, take a moment to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing, on the morning of the competition, Maria woke up earlier than usual. She was as nervous as if she were the one competing. Boys, get up. Today's the big day, she called, preparing a hearty breakfast. Mom, my stomach's in knots, Raphael complained. It's just nerves, sweetheart. It'll pass once you start running. What if we forget everything Coach Robert taught us? Charlie worried. You won't forget. You've trained hard and you're ready. Robert arrived at 1 p.m. to pick them up. The competition would start at 3 p.m., but he wanted them there early to warm up. How are you feeling? He asked when he saw them. Nervous, they answered in unison. Perfect. Nerves are energy. Let's channel this energy into the race. At the stadium, there were about 80 athletes of various ages preparing for the events. Maria was impressed by the professional atmosphere. Robert, there are so many kids here, she observed. It's a city tournament. Anyone who wants to gain experience or has been competing for a while can participate. Will the boys be running against more experienced kids? Yes, but everyone competes in their own age group. Charlie will race against other 14-year-olds, Raphael against the 10-year-olds. During warm-ups, Robert noticed the boys were too tense. Take deep breaths. You know how to run. That hasn't changed just because we're in an official competition. But there are so many people watching, Raphael whispered. So what? You're not running for them. You're running for yourselves. At 2:30 p.m., the first event was announced. The men's 100-meter dash, 14-year-old category. It was Charlie's race. It's time, said Robert. Remember what we talked about. Low start, explosive first 30 meters, then maintain speed. I've got this, Mr. Robert. Of course you do. Now go out there and run like you know how. Maria held Raphael's hand as they watched Charlie head to the track. Mum, what if Charlie doesn't make it? He will, sweetheart. Even if he doesn't win, he'll give it his best. Charlie took his place in lane 6, alongside 7 other boys. Robert noticed some competitors had professional gear and seemed more experienced. Runners, take your marks, announced the starter. Charlie crouched into the starting position, trying to remember everything Robert had taught him. Set. The stadium fell silent. Charlie's heart raced, but he focused on his breathing. Go! The starting gun echoed through the stadium. Charlie shot forward with the other runners, but lagged slightly in the first few meters. Go, Charlie! Raphael shouted from the stands. At 50 meters, Charlie was in 4th place. Robert, standing trackside, yelled instructions. Keep the pace! Don't push yet! In the last 30 meters, Charlie summoned all his speed. He overtook 2 runners and crossed the finish line in 2nd place. 2nd place, Maria cheered, hugging Raphael. He did it, Raphael celebrated. Robert ran to embrace Charlie, who was breathless but smiling. How do you feel? Robert asked. Amazing. It was so different from practice, Charlie replied, still catching his breath. And the time? Maria asked, having come down from the stands. 11.7 seconds, Robert announced. A 10th better than your best practice time. Is that good? It's excellent for your first official race. The first place finisher had run 11.4 seconds, just 3/10 faster than Charlie. Mom, I got 2nd place. Charlie hugged her tightly. Congratulations, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. An hour later, Raphael's event was announced. The men's 200-meter dash, 10-year-old category. Now it's my turn, Raphael said, visibly nervous. Did you see how well Charlie did? Robert reminded him. You have the same talent he does. But 200 meters is longer. It's your favorite distance. Remember practice. You always did better in the 200 meters. Raphael headed to the track. There were only 5 competitors in his category, all seeming more experienced. Raphael Johnson, lane 4, the announcer called. Maria's heart raced again. Robert, he looks so small compared to the others, she noted. Age doesn't determine talent, Maria, and Raphael has plenty of talent. At the starting line, Raphael tried to recall all of Robert's advice for the 200 meters. Runners, take your marks. Raphael positioned himself, eyes fixed on the track ahead. Set. Silence filled the stadium once more. Go. Raphael came out strong from the first turn, holding on to 3rd place. Robert was shouting instructions from the sidelines. Keep the pace, don't speed up yet. On the opposite straightaway, Raphael maintained his position, running controlled, just as he'd learned. Now, Raphael, go! Robert yelled as the boy entered the final turn. Raphael tapped into all his reserved speed. He passed the runner in 2nd place on the turn and surged after the leader on the final stretch. Go, Raphael! Maria and Charlie cheered together. In the last few meters, Raphael closed the gap with the leader, but couldn't overtake him. He crossed the finish line in 2nd place. 2nd place again, Charlie celebrated. Raphael dropped to his knees on the track, completely exhausted. Robert ran over to help him up. How was it? He asked, panting. You were amazing, Robert replied. You ran smart and determined. And the time? 23.8 seconds, 3/10 better than your best practice time. Maria rushed down from the stands to hug Raphael. Son, you were wonderful. Did I really do it, Mum? You did. 2nd place in your first official competition. The award ceremony took place an hour later. Charlie and Raphael stood on the 2nd step of the podium in their respective categories, receiving silver medals. How do you feel now? Robert asked as the boys posed for photos with their new medals. It feels like a dream, said Charlie. Better than any medal we've had before, Raphael added. Because these you earned with sweat and dedication, Robert pointed out. And we'll never sell them, Charlie promised. Never, Raphael agreed. On the way home, Maria was visibly emotional. Robert, thank you for everything. A month ago, I never imagined this would be possible. Maria, this is just the beginning. With the times they ran today, they could qualify for state competitions. State competitions? Maria asked, surprised. Charlie's time today qualifies him for his age group's state championship, and Raphael is very close too. What does that mean? It means they could compete against the best athletes in New York their age. And if they do well at state, then we start talking about national championships, scholarships, sponsors. Maria could hardly believe what she was hearing. Robert, how soon could that happen? If they keep improving like today, they could be competing nationally in 6 months. 6 months? That's quick for those with natural talent and dedication like theirs. That night, Maria took a long time to fall asleep. She was processing everything that had happened that day and the possibilities Robert had mentioned. Mom, are you awake? Raphael whispered from the bunk. I am, son. Can't sleep either. No, I keep thinking about today. What's on your mind? If we keep running well, maybe one day you won't have to work so hard. Maria was moved by her son's concern. Raphael, you don't need to worry about me. What matters is that you're happy. But we want to help you, Mum, like Robert helped us. You already helped me just by being here and being the wonderful boys you are. Mum, we're going to train hard to go far in sports, Charlie promised from the top bunk. I know you will, boys. You've already made me so proud today. The following Monday, Robert arrived at school with a different proposal. Boys, I want to talk to your principal about a special program for athletes. What kind of program? Charlie asked. A flexible schedule so you can train more without falling behind in school. Could we train more times a week? If the school agrees, we can move to 4 weekly practices. At the board meeting, Robert spoke with the school principal, Principal Anthony, about the possibilities. Principal, the boys have exceptional talent. With their results from Saturday's competition, I believe they can go very far. And how would this special schedule work? They would leave an hour early on Tuesdays and Thursdays to train. In return, they'd have tutoring sessions on Saturday mornings. What about their academic performance? I'll personally monitor their grades. If there's any drop in performance, we'll go back to the regular schedule. The principal considered the proposal. Coach Robert, I can allow this on a trial basis, 3 months initially. Perfect. Thank you, Principal Anthony. But there's one condition. I want them to participate in a presentation about track and field for other classes. They could inspire other students. Of course, it would be our pleasure. With the new schedule, the training intensified. Robert worked on more advanced technical aspects and introduced strength training tailored to each event. Charlie, we'll focus on your explosive power. Sprinters need strong legs. What about me, Coach Robert? Raphael, we'll build your endurance. You have potential for longer distances too. 3 weeks after their first competition, Robert entered the boys in another tournament, this one with a higher skill level. This will be tougher, he warned. You'll compete against athletes who've trained much longer. We're ready, Charlie assured. What if we don't do well? Raphael asked. What matters is giving your best. Results come from effort. The night before the second competition, Robert noticed the boys were more confident than the first time. How are you feeling? Nervous but not scared, Charlie replied. We want to show we've improved, Raphael added. That's the right attitude. Mental growth is just as important as physical. The second competition was held at Hayward Field in New York. It was even more impressive than the first. Wow, this place is huge, Raphael exclaimed. Olympic athletes have run on this track, Robert said. You're stepping on sacred ground for American track and field. Could we run in the Olympics someday? Charlie asked. If you keep working this hard, it's not impossible. In this competition, Charlie ran the 100 meters in 11.5 seconds, placing third. Raphael finished the 200 meters in 23.6 seconds, also taking third. You've improved again, Robert celebrated. And this time we raced against much more experienced athletes, Maria noted. That means they're progressing fast, Robert explained. What's next? Maria asked. The state championship is in 2 months. With today's times, they've automatically qualified. The state championship? Maria could hardly believe it. That's right. They'll race against the best athletes in New York in their age groups. Over the next 6 weeks, Robert ramped up training even more. He brought in a sports psychologist and a nutritionist. Why a psychologist? Maria asked. To help them handle the pressure of bigger competitions, Robert explained. The mental aspect is crucial in high-performance sports. And a nutritionist to optimize their diet and ensure they have all the energy needed for intense training. Preparing for the state championship included practices at other stadiums and smaller competitions for experience. Charlie, your time today was 11.3 seconds, Robert announced after a timed run. You're entering serious athlete territory. Is that really a good time? For a 14-year-old who's only trained for 4 months, it's exceptional. What about me? Asked Raphael. You ran 23.2 in the 200 meters. That's also an excellent time for your age and training level. 2 weeks before the state championship, Robert had a serious talk with Maria. Maria, I need to talk about the boys' future. What do you mean? They have the potential to reach the top of American track and field, but it will require big decisions. What kind of decisions? Specialized sports schools, training at elite centers, maybe even moving to other states if better opportunities come up. Maria fell silent, processing the information. Does that mean they'd have to be away from me? Not necessarily, but it means your lives will change completely. Robert, I want what's best for them, but they're my children. I don't know if I could bear being apart. Maria, this might not happen for years. I'm just preparing you for the possibilities. What if they don't want this life? Then they stop competing and live normally, but with all the discipline and values sports have taught them. Maria talked to her sons that same night. Boys, Robert told me you could go very far in track and field, but it might mean changes for us. What kind of changes, Mom? Asked Charlie. You might have to go to different schools, train in other places, maybe even travel a lot. And you'd come with us? Asked Raphael, worried. Whenever possible, yes. But there might be times you'd have to be without me. "Mum, we only want this if it helps our family," said Charlie. "And if we don't like it, can we stop?" asked Raphael. "Of course you can. You're kids. Your job is to be happy, not support the family." "But we want to help you too," Charlie insisted. "And you will by being good people and taking the chances life gives you." During the week of the state championship, the tension was thick. Robert focused on specific technical and strategic details for each event. "Charlie, at states you'll face boys who run under 11 seconds. Don't let that scare you." "How do I not get scared?" "Run your own race. If you hit your personal best, you'll definitely finish top 5. "What about me, Coach Robert?" asked Raphael. "Raphael, you've got a real shot at a medal. In your age group's 200 meters, few boys break 23 seconds. "A real medal?" "A real medal, but only if you run relaxed and smart like in practice." The day before the championship, Robert took the boys to see the stadium. "This is where New York's professional athletes compete," he explained. "It's a fast track, which could help your times." "Why are some tracks faster?" asked Charlie. "Materials, slope, surface texture. Every detail matters." "And this one's good for us?" "It's excellent. Might help you set new personal records." On race morning, Robert arrived early to help the boys prepare. "How'd they sleep?" he asked Maria. "Raphael slept fine, but Charlie was up late," she said. "Normal. Pre-race nerves." "Coach Robert, I'm really nervous," Charlie admitted. "Charlie, you've already proven your talent. Today's just another chance to show it. But what if I let everyone down?" "Impossible. You'll only disappoint me if you don't give your all." At the stadium, over 300 athletes from across New York had gathered. The setup was professional, with organized warm-ups and electronic timing. "This is the real deal," Maria observed. "It's their first taste of high-level state competition," Robert explained. During the warm-up, Robert observed the other competitors in the boys' categories. "Charlie, there are at least 3 boys here who run really fast, but you have a chance to be in the top 5. Would that be good? It would be excellent for your first time at the state championship." Charlie's race was scheduled for 3:30 p.m. By 3, he was already heading to the call area. "Remember everything we practiced," Robert advised. "Explosive start, the first 30 meters are crucial, then maintain your speed." "I can do it, Mr. Robert." "Of course you can. Now go out there and show them what you're made of." On the track, Charlie was in lane 7, a good position to observe the other runners without feeling intimidated. "Runners for the boys' 100-meter final, age 14, take your marks." The stadium fell silent. Maria held Raphael's hand tightly. "Set!" Charlie positioned himself perfectly in the starting blocks. "Go!" The start was flawless. Charlie kept up with the favorites and stayed in the fight for the top spots throughout the race. At 80 meters, he was in 4th place, very close to 3rd. "Go, Charlie!" Maria and Raphael shouted together. In the final meters, Charlie managed to overtake the 3rd-place runner and cross the finish line in that position. "3rd place!" Robert yelled, running to hug him. "Did I do it?" Charlie asked, still breathless. "You did it. 3rd place in the New York State Championship. And the time?" 11.2 seconds, Robert announced, thrilled. "A new personal best," Maria cried with emotion as she hugged her son. "Charlie, you were amazing." "Mom, I did it. A bronze medal at state." 2 hours later, it was Raphael's turn in the 200 meters. "Raphael, you're even more prepared than Charlie was," Robert reassured him. "Your category has fewer strong competitors." "I'm confident, Mr. Robert." "Great. Confidence is half the race." In Raphael's race, there were only 6 competitors. He was in lane 5, a central position that let him see all his opponents. Final call for the boys' 200 meters, age 10. Raphael walked to the track with Robert and Maria by his side. "Son, run like you know how," Maria said, kissing his forehead. "Give it your all, bro," Charlie shouted from the stands. "Raphael, remember the strategy. Controlled start, accelerate on the curve, explode in the final stretch," Robert instructed. "Runners, take your marks." Raphael positioned himself, more confident than ever before. "Set." The stadium went silent again. "Go!" Raphael executed a perfect start and settled into third place after the first curve. On the back straight, he held his position, running smoothly. "Now, Raphael!" Robert yelled as the boy entered the final curve. Raphael tapped into all his speed and overtook two runners on the curve, taking the lead. "He's in first!" Maria screamed. In the final stretch, Raphael pulled ahead and crossed the finish line alone in first place. "State champion!" Robert shouted, running onto the track. Raphael dropped to his knees, unable to believe what had just happened. "Did I win?" he asked when Robert reached him. "You won, New York State champion in the 200 meters. And the time? 22.8 seconds, almost a full second faster than your previous best." Maria rushed down from the stands to hug Raphael, who was crying with joy. "Son, you're a champion." "Mom, I won. I really won." Charlie also came down to hug his brother. "Raphael, you were incredible. State champion." At the awards ceremony, Raphael stood on the top step of the podium to receive his gold medal, while Charlie stood on the third step. "How do you feel now?" Robert asked during the medal presentation. "It doesn't feel real," Raphael said, admiring his gold medal. "I'm so proud of my brother," added Charlie. "And I'm proud of both of you," said Robert, emotional. After the competition, Robert spoke with Maria about the next steps. Maria, with these results, they automatically qualified for the American Championship. American! Maria could barely process the information. Raphael as state champion and Charlie for the time he ran. "This is huge, Robert. I'm scared." "It really is, but they deserve this opportunity." "And where would this championship be?" "In Washington, D.C., 3 months from now." "How would we even get there?" "The Federation usually helps with tickets for qualified athletes, and I can cover the other costs." "Robert, I can't accept that." "Maria, it's not a favor, it's an investment. They have the potential to get sponsors who'll cover all these costs in the future." Maria looked at her sons, who were chatting excitedly with other athletes. "Robert, they're still so young for so much responsibility." "They're young, but they have incredible talent, and more importantly, they have character and determination." "What if they don't do well at the American Championship? They've already achieved more than I dreamed of when I met them 5 months ago. And if they do succeed, what comes next?" "Then we start talking seriously about a career in track and field, training centers, scholarships, sponsorships." Maria took a deep breath, trying to process all the possibilities. "Robert, I need time to think about all this." "Of course. We have 3 months to prepare." "And the boys? Do they know about all this?" "They know they qualified for the American Championship. The rest we'll discuss little by little." That night, Maria had a long talk with her sons about the future. "Boys, do you realize what you accomplished today?" "We won important medals, right, Mom?" Raphael answered. "Very important, and now you'll compete in the American Championship." "The real American one?" Charlie asked, impressed. "The real one, against the best athletes in the United States in your age group." "And will you be able to come with us?" Raphael asked. "Yes, son. I wouldn't miss it for anything." "Mom, we're a little scared," Charlie admitted. "Why?" "Everything is happening so fast. Not long ago, we were selling medals just to eat." Maria was moved by her son's words. "You have every right to be scared. But remember, you don't have to do anything. If at any point you don't want to anymore, we stop." "But we do want to keep going," Raphael said. "We love running, and we love winning." "And we want to honor everything Mr. Robert has done for us," Charlie added. "Then let's move forward. But always remember, the most important thing is that you're happy." During the 3 months of preparation for the American Championship, the boys' routine changed completely. Robert secured a sponsorship from a sports store that provided professional equipment. "Now you have competition shoes, proper gear, and everything you need," Robert explained as he showed them the equipment. "These are really ours?" Raphael asked, admiring the new shoes. "They're yours. The sponsor believes in your potential." "And what do we have to do in return?" Charlie asked. "Wear the brand's gear during competitions and keep training seriously." "That's it? That's it. And if you do well at the American Championship, they might expand the sponsorship." The preparation included trips to train on tracks similar to the one that would be used in the American Championship. "Why do we need to train on different tracks?" Raphael asked. "Every track has its own characteristics," Robert explained. "You need to adapt to any condition." "And what's the track at the American Championship like?" "It's one of the best in the United States, fast and well-maintained, perfect for good times." 3 weeks before the American Championship, Robert organized a simulated competition with other young athletes to test the boys' physical condition. Charlie ran the 100 meters in 11.1 seconds, his best time yet. Raphael clocked 22.6 in the 200 meters, also a new personal record. "You're in the best shape of your lives," Robert announced after the simulation. "Does that mean we have a chance at the American Championship?" asked Charlie. "It means you might surprise a lot of people." "But we're still underdogs, right?" asked Raphael. "Yes, you are, but underdogs who are prepared and determined." A week before the trip to Washington, D.C., Robert spoke with Maria about expectations. "Maria, it's important everyone has realistic expectations for the American Championship." "What do you mean?" "They'll be competing against athletes who've trained for years, some at elite centers. So their chances are slim?" "The chances of medaling are slim, but the chances of them setting good times and gaining experience are high." "And would that be enough?" "It would be more than enough. If they finish in the top 10, it'll already be an exceptional result." "What if they finish in the top 3? "Then we start talking about the US Junior National Team." Maria felt a flutter in her stomach at the mention of the national team. "Robert, this all still feels so surreal." "For me too, Maria. In 5 months, they've gone from complete obscurity to the national stage. And where could this lead? Wherever they want. The talent is there, and so is the determination. Now it's about staying focused and improving." The night before the trip to Washington, D.C., the family had one last conversation about their goals for the competition. "Boys, what do you hope for at the American Championship?" asked Maria. "We want to run our best times," answered Charlie. "And show we deserve to be there," added Raphael. "And if you achieve more than that?" "It'd be a dream," said Raphael. "But we're already living a dream." "It's true," agreed Charlie. "Just a few months ago, we didn't even have enough to eat." Maria got emotional, remembering how far they'd come. "You've grown so much, not just as athletes, but as people." "We've learned that with hard work, anything is possible," said Charlie. "And that there are always good people willing to help," added Raphael, looking at Robert. Robert, who had joined them for the final talk, was moved by the boy's words. "You've taught me a lot too," he said. "You've shown me that helping others is the best way to honor those we love." "Mr. Robert, do you think your son would be proud of us?" asked Raphael. "I'm absolutely sure he would, Raphael. No doubt about it." The next day they left for Washington, D.C. on a flight sponsored by the New York Athletics Federation. It was the boys' first time flying. "Mom, look how big New York is from up here," exclaimed Raphael, pressed against the window. "It really is amazing," agreed Maria, equally fascinated. "Mr. Robert, how many athletes will be at the American Championship?" asked Charlie. "Over 800, from every state in the United States." "Wow," they both exclaimed. "But you won't compete against all of them, just those in your age group." "How many in our group?" asked Raphael. "In yours, Raphael, about 20 boys. In Charlie's, around 25. "That's a lot," noted Charlie. "They're the best in the country at your age," Robert reminded them. "It's only natural there'd be so many strong competitors." In Washington, D.C., they stayed at a hotel near the stadium where the competition would take place. On the first day, Robert took them to see the facilities. "This is the stadium where the country's top track and field competitions happen," he explained. "Olympic athletes and world record holders have competed here." "Could we run in the Olympics one day?" asked Raphael. "If you keep improving like this, it's definitely possible." "Really?" asked Charlie. "Really. But there's still a long way to go." The championship would start on Friday and last 3 days. Charlie's race was scheduled for Saturday afternoon and Raphael's for Sunday morning. "Why is my race last?" asked Raphael. "Because you're the state champion," explained Robert. "State champions always race on the last day." "Is that good or bad?" "It's good because you'll have more time to adjust to the environment. Bad because you'll have to wait longer to compete." On Friday, they watched the first races to get familiar with the competition setting. "The level here is really high," Robert noted after watching a few races. "Very different from the competitions we've been in," asked Maria. "Very. These are the best in the country. Some have had professional coaches for years. Does that mean the boys' chances are lower? It means they'll have to give their all to get a good result." On Saturday morning, Charlie woke up nervous for his afternoon race. "My stomach is in knots," he complained. "It's normal," Robert reassured him. "All athletes get nervous before big competitions." "What if I don't run well?" "You will, you trained hard to get here. But what if I forget everything I learned?" "Charlie, running comes naturally to you, you won't forget." At 2 p.m., Robert, Maria and Raphael walked Charlie to the warm-up area. "Son, run like you know how," said Maria, kissing his forehead. "Give it your all, bro," encouraged Raphael. "Charlie, remember everything we worked on. Explosive start. The first meters are crucial," Robert advised. "I'll do my best, Mr. Robert." "I know you will. Now go out there and show what you're made of." In the call area, Charlie observed the other competitors. They all seemed more experienced and confident. First call for the men's 100-meter, age 14. Charlie headed to the track with Robert. "How are you feeling?" asked Robert. "Nervous but determined." "Perfect. Nerves are energy. Use that energy to run." On the track, Charlie was in lane 8, the outermost position. It was a disadvantage because he wouldn't be able to see the other runners during the race. "Runners, take your marks." The stadium, with over 5,000 people in the stands, fell silent. "Set." Charlie focused on his breathing and starting technique. "Go." The start was perfect. Charlie executed an explosive start and stayed with the leaders for the first 30 meters. At 50 meters, he was in 5th place, very close to the front group. "Go, Charlie!" Maria and Raphael shouted from the stands. At 80 meters, Charlie tapped into his final burst of speed and passed 2 runners. He crossed the finish line in 3rd place, just behind the second runner. "Third place!" Robert yelled, running to hug him. "Did I do it?" asked Charlie, still processing the result. "You did it. Bronze medal at the national championship." "And the time?" 11.0 seconds, Robert announced excitedly. "A new personal best and a national team qualifying time." Maria cried with emotion as she hugged her son. "Charlie, you're amazing." "Mom, I did it. Bronze at nationals. And a national team qualifying time," Robert added. "That means you could be called up to represent the United States in international competitions." Charlie could hardly believe what he was hearing. "The national team? Really?" "Really. With that time, you're among the best in the country for your age." On Sunday morning, it was Raphael's turn. He had watched his brother's achievement the day before and was motivated. "Raphael, did you see how well Charlie did?" said Robert. "You have the same talent and preparation." "I'm confident, Mr. Robert. I want to win a medal too." "That's the right attitude. Confidence is key." "What if I don't succeed?" "You've already made it this far. That's a huge victory in itself." At 10 o'clock, Raphael headed to the warm-up area accompanied by his whole family. "Son, run with your heart," said Maria. "Go all out, bro. Show everyone how you run." Charlie cheered. "Raphael, you've trained for this moment. Now just execute," Robert advised. "I'll give it my all, Mr. Robert." In the call area, Raphael noticed there were only 12 competitors in his category, fewer than he expected. "Why are there fewer runners in my race?" he asked Robert. "Because your age group has fewer athletes in the country. That could work in your favor." "How so?" "Fewer competitors mean better odds for a medal." Raphael felt encouraged by the news. Final call for the boys' 200-meter 10-year-old category. Raphael walked to the track with Robert by his side. "How are you feeling?" Robert asked. "I'm ready. I want to prove I belong here." "You already proved that just by getting here. Now just run like you know how." On the track, Raphael was in lane 6, a central position that let him see most of his opponents. "Runners, take your marks." Raphael settled calmly, remembering all his training. "Set." The stadium fell silent for the last time at the championship. "Go." Raphael had a perfect start and was in fourth place after the first curve. On the back straight, he moved up to third, running control just as he'd practiced. "Now, Raphael!" Robert shouted as the boy entered the final curve. Raphael tapped into his reserve speed and overtook two runners on the turn, taking the lead. "He's in first!" Maria yelled, standing in the bleachers. In the home stretch, Raphael surged ahead, opening a big gap over the others. He crossed the finish line alone in first place, more than a second ahead of the runner-up. "American champion!" Robert shouted, rushing onto the track to hug Raphael. Raphael dropped to his knees, crying with emotion. "Did I win?" he asked through tears. "You won! American champion in the 200 meters!" "And the time?" 22.3 seconds, Robert announced, choked up. "A new competition record, and a qualifying time for the national team too." Maria and Charlie ran down from the stands to embrace Raphael. "Son, you're a champion," Maria said, crying with joy. "Raphael, you were amazing. American champion." Charlie celebrated. "Mom, I did it. I really did it," Raphael sobbed. During the awards ceremony, Raphael stood on the top podium while Charlie watched from the stands wearing his bronze medal. As the national anthem played, the whole family wept with pride. "How do you feel now?" Robert asked after the ceremony. "It's like we're living a dream," Raphael said. "A dream that started when we were selling medals in the square," Charlie remembered. "And one that only happened because you believed in us," Raphael added. Robert was moved by the boy's words. "You've given me purpose again. I'm the one who should be thanking you." "Mr. Robert, what happens now?" Maria asked. "Now they're officially part of the US junior national team. They'll represent America in international competitions." "This is huge," Maria said, still processing. "It's the highest honor a young athlete can have," Robert explained. "And what does that mean in practice?" "It means they'll train at elite centers, have a full support team, and compete against the best young athletes in the world." Maria fell silent, thinking of all the changes ahead. "Robert, this is going to change our lives completely, isn't it?" "It sure is, Maria, but for the better." "And will you two be able to handle so much responsibility?" she asked her sons. "We'll try, Mom," answered Charlie. "And if it gets too hard, we can always stop." "We don't want to stop," said Raphael. "We want to see how far we can go." "Then let's move forward," Maria decided. "Together, like always." "Together," they all agreed. On the flight back to New York, Robert talked to Maria about their next steps. "Maria, from now on, everything changes. They'll get call-ups for the national team, international trips, scholarships." "And what about me? Where does that leave me?" "The Federation usually helps families of national team athletes. You'll probably get a job related to sports." "What kind of job?" "Coordinating young athletes, supporting families, that sort of thing." "That would be amazing," Maria said, emotional. "And there's more. With the boys' performance, sponsors will come. That could bring financial stability for the family. Robert, 6 months ago, I wasn't sure I could pay next month's rent. And now your sons are national champions and will represent the country internationally. It sounds impossible when you say it like that. But it's real, Maria, and it's just the beginning." Back in Portland, they were welcomed as heroes at school and in the neighborhood. The principal organized a special reception for the boys. "Charlie and Raphael Johnson, the pride of our school," the principal announced to all the students gathered in the courtyard. "They've left this school to represent the United States in world athletics," he added. Applause echoed across the courtyard. The brothers, shy, waved to their classmates. "How does it feel to be heroes?" asked a local reporter covering the event. "We don't feel like heroes," Charlie answered. "We just did what we love to do." "And what would you say to other kids going through hard times?" the reporter asked. "That there's always a way out," Raphael replied. "Sometimes it comes when you least expect it. And that hard work always pays off," Charlie added. At the boarding house where they lived, Mrs. Rose, the owner, waited for them with a celebration cake. "Boys, you're the pride of the whole neighborhood," she said, emotional. "Thank you, Mrs. Rose," they replied shyly. "And don't worry about rent for the next few months, it's on the house." Maria was moved by the owner's gesture. "Mrs. Rose, you don't have to." "I do, Maria. You deserve it. Besides, having national champions staying at my boarding house is an honor." A week after returning from the Nationals, Robert gathered the family for an important talk. "I got a call from the US Athletics Federation. The boys have been called up for a national team training camp." "When?" asked Maria. "Next month, 2 weeks at the National Training Center in Miami. And can I go with them?" Maria asked. "Of course. The Federation covers expenses for one guardian for minors." "And after the camp?" "If they confirm their potential, they'll be called up for international competitions." "International competitions?" Charlie asked, amazed. "Yes. There's a Caribbean Youth Championship in 3 months. We could represent the United States in an international competition," Raphael asked. "You sure could. And with your performance at Nationals, the chances are high." Maria could hardly believe what she was hearing. "Robert, my sons could compete against athletes from other countries." "Not just could, they probably will. Raphael is a national champion, and Charlie has the 3rd best time in the country for his age." "This is so much more than we dreamed when this all started." "It's so much more than I dreamed too," Robert admitted. "They've surpassed all expectations." "And will you continue to be their coach?" "If you want me to, yes. The Federation approved my work and wants me to stay." "Of course we want you to," Charlie replied immediately. "You're part of our family now," Raphael added. Robert was moved by the boy's words. "You're my family too, and you always will be." 2 weeks later, they left for Miami for the training camp with the American national team. The training center was impressive, with world-class facilities. "I never imagined I'd step foot in a place like this," Maria said as she toured the grounds. "This is where American Olympic athletes train," Robert explained. "And now our boys will train here too," Maria said, still taking it all in. During the camp, Charlie and Raphael trained with the best coaches in the country and met other young talents from all over the States. "How's the experience so far?" Maria asked on the 3rd day. "Amazing, Mom," Raphael replied. "We're learning things we didn't even know existed." "And are the other athletes nice?" Maria asked. "Yeah, and everyone has a story like ours," Charlie said. "What do you mean?" "Most came from poor families and got here through sports," Raphael explained. "That makes me happy," Maria said. "It means you're not exceptions." "We're not," Charlie agreed. "Sports really do change lives." On the last day of the camp, the national team coach, Coach Mark, spoke with Robert about the boys' future. "Robert, your athletes have a lot of potential. We want to keep them on the permanent roster." "What does that mean in practice?" "It means they'll compete in all international events for their age group." "And what's the first competition?" "The Caribbean Youth Championships in 2 months. Then, if they prove themselves, they'll go to the Youth World Championships." "Youth World Championships?" Robert could hardly believe it. "Youth World Championships, it's the most important competition for athletes their age." "And what are their chances in these events?" "Raphael has a real shot at a medal in the Caribbean Championships. Charlie could make the finals." "And at the Worlds?" "That depends on their progress over the next few months. But they have the potential to be among the best in the world." When Robert shared the news with the family, their reaction was disbelief mixed with emotion. "They could go to the Youth World Championships?" Maria asked. "They could. And they have a real chance at good results. This is more than I ever dreamed for them in my whole life," Maria said, crying. "Mom, don't cry," Raphael pleaded. "They're happy tears, right?" "Yes, son. They're tears of pride and joy." "Mr. Robert, can we really compete against the best young athletes in the world?" Charlie asked. "You can, and you'll represent the United States doing it." "That's a big responsibility," Raphael noted. "It is. But you're ready for it," Robert assured them. 2 months later, they left for Toronto, Canada, for the Caribbean Youth Championships. It was the boys' first international competition. "How are you feeling?" Robert asked during the flight. "Nervous but excited," Charlie replied. "We want to show that the US has great young sprinters," Raphael added. "You already are great sprinters. Now you just have to prove it internationally." In Toronto, they stayed in the athletes' village with the rest of the American delegation. "How many countries are competing?" Raphael asked. "All the Caribbean countries: Canada, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Barbados, Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, and the US." And which country usually wins the most medals? Canada and the US always compete for the top spot. What about in our events? Rafael has a real shot at gold. Charlie could make the podium too. The competition lasted 3 days. On the second day, Charlie ran the 100 meters and won the silver medal with a time of 10.9 seconds. Silver in the Caribbean Championship, celebrated Robert. And I broke the 11-second barrier, said Charlie, euphoric. Now you're officially an elite youth sprinter, explained Robert. On the third day, Rafael ran the 200 meters and dominated the race from start to finish, winning gold with a time of 21.9 seconds. Caribbean champion, shouted Robert as he hugged him. And under 22 seconds, added Rafael, emotional. With that time, you're among the top 5 in the world for your age, Robert explained. During the award ceremony, the two brothers stood on the podium representing the United States. When the national anthem played, the whole family cried with emotion. How do you feel now? Asked an American reporter after the ceremony. Proud to represent the United States, answered Charlie. And grateful for all the opportunities we've received, added Rafael. What do you want to say to the American children watching on TV? Never give up on your dreams, said Rafael. A year ago, we were selling medals just to eat. And now we're Caribbean champions, Charlie finished. This shows anything is possible with hard work. Back in the United States, they were welcomed as national heroes. The mayor of Portland organized an official reception at City Hall. Charlie and Rafael Johnson, the pride of Portland and the United States, announced the mayor. They've shown our youth can compete anywhere in the world, he added. During the ceremony, it was announced the boys would receive full scholarships to a school specializing in training athletes. And for the Johnson family, we announce you'll receive your own home through the city's housing program, said the mayor. Maria was moved when she heard about the house. Our own home? She asked, unable to believe it. Your own home, Mrs. Maria. You deserve a dignified place to live, the mayor confirmed. Thank you, said Maria, crying. Thank you for everything. We're the ones who should thank you for putting Portland on the world map of athletics. A week later, they went to see the house they'd been given. It was a simple but comfortable home with 3 bedrooms, a living room, kitchen, and backyard. Is this really ours? Asked Rafael, running through the rooms. It's yours, confirmed the city representative. Each of us will have our own room, Charlie observed, emotional. Maria walked through the house with tears in her eyes, remembering the tiny room in the boarding house where they'd lived just months before. Robert, can you believe everything that's happened? She asked. Sometimes it feels like a dream, Robert admitted. But it's all real. And it's just the beginning, he added. With their results in the Caribbean Championship, they've qualified for the World Youth Championship. The real World Championship? Asked Maria. The real one. In 6 months in Sweden. Is Sweden far from here? On the other side of the world, Robert smiled. But you'll get there. 6 months later, the family flew to Stockholm, Sweden, for the World Youth Championship. It was the biggest event of the boys' careers so far. How many countries are competing? Charlie asked during the flight. Over 180, Robert answered. Wow, they both exclaimed. And you'll represent the United States against the best young athletes in the world. That's a huge responsibility, said Rafael. It is, but you're ready. In Stockholm, the competition lasted a week. Charlie placed 5th in the 100 meters, an excellent result for his first World Championship. Rafael won bronze in the 200 meters, becoming the first American in 15 years to stand on the World Youth podium in athletics. Bronze at the World Championship, Robert shouted, hugging Rafael. I did it, Rafael cried. I really did it. You're officially one of the top 3 young sprinters in the world, said Robert, moved. During the Global Awards ceremony, Rafael stood on the 3rd step of the podium representing the United States. The national anthem played for the whole world to hear. How does it feel to be a world medalist? Asked an international reporter. Fulfilled, replied Rafael in English, with Robert translating. 2 years ago I sold medals to eat. Today I earn medals representing my country. And what are your next goals? To keep improving and maybe one day make it to the Olympics. Do you think you can reach the Olympics? I'll work hard for it, Rafael assured. 2 years later, Charlie and Raphael were already established athletes on the international scene. Charlie had broken the world youth record for the 100 meters, and Raphael dominated the 200 meters in his category. "Boys, it's time we talked about the Olympics," said Robert during a family meeting. "Olympics?" asked Maria. "The next Olympics are in 2 years. With the boys' progress, they have a real shot at qualifying." "A real shot?" asked Charlie. "Real. You're among the best in the world for your age. When you move up to the adult category, you could be among the favorites." "That would be the greatest dream possible," said Raphael. "And you have the potential to achieve it," Robert assured. "Robert, when you first met my sons selling medals in the square, did you imagine they could make it to the Olympics?" asked Maria. "No, Maria. I knew they had talent, but I never dreamed they'd come this far so quickly. And now? Now I believe they can reach the top of world athletics." "Mr. Robert, thank you for believing in us," said Charlie. "Thank you for changing our lives," added Raphael. "You're the ones who changed my life," Robert replied, emotional. "You gave me back my purpose and joy for living. And we'll always be a family," said Maria, "no matter how far the boys go. We'll always be a family." They all agreed. End of story. Now, tell us what you thought of this inspiring story about brothers Charlie and Raphael. Do you believe hard work and dedication can transform lives like it did for them? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more uplifting stories like this one.